Hey, and welcome to Emotions and Essential Oils for Beginners. I'm Sarah Stepos. I'm going to teach you today all about emotions and essential oils. And I love this topic. This is probably one of the topics that gets me so excited about essential oils. Like I got into essential oils specifically for emotions. So let's jump right in. Okay, this is my one of my favorite quotes. I don't want to be at the mercy of my emotions. I want to use them, to enjoy them, and to dominate them. And I feel like that is what we need to do. Sometimes we think I have these emotions, we allow our emotions to control us versus us controlling our emotions. And when I say control, I don't mean just like stuffing them away and not dealing with them and leaving them for a different day. No, I'm talking about truly very real and very raw, truly actually dealing with your emotions, really using your emotions and understanding your emotions. That's what I'm talking about when we say um, use them and to dominate them. So, just something I wanted to just kind of share that quote with you. So, what is an emotion, right? It's an instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. Simply put, it's emotion is energy in motion. And how do essential oils affect emotions? When inhaling essential oils, they directly affect the limbic system. So let's get into the limbic system for a minute. So here's the limbic system. Your limbic system is made up of the hippocampus, the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and the thalamus. It's also made up of your olfactory bulb, and it's part of the frontal lobe. Okay, so if you see this this really cool image over here on the side of the brain. If you see that olfactory bulb, that's kind of like what's here behind our nose, up here, right, like right there. And that's our, like where our sense of smell comes in. And so what happens is we smell an essential oil and it kind of travels through that limbic system in that orange pattern that you see over there. It travels through there and it goes into our amygdala, which is that's where we perceive our emotions such as like anger and fear and sadness, and it plays a role in controlling aggression, and it helps memories and of events, emotions. It also plays a role in our sexual activity and our libido. Okay, so this is our amygdala is super important. um and that, and then our hippocampus is responsible for short term and long term memories. Have you ever smelled something and it just brought back a memory, good or bad? Um, I can tell you, like, the smell of sourdough makes me think of Disneyland. Like, it just brings me right back to California Adventure and where they have sourdough, right? And like, I could just see the little sourdough Mickey ears and just like it tastes so good. And like sourdough, it brings me back to that every single time that I smell sourdough, right? It makes me think of of Disneyland. So you might have that same reaction to things. Maybe it's lemons. I remember talking to someone who smelled a lemon essential oil, and she was like, "You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of being a child and smelling lemon drops." So if you can think about that and you can think about how that would affect you, or what smells kind of bring that up, that is what is in our brain. Right over there in our brain where we store those long-term and short-term memories is from the hippocampus. Now you can think of bad smells too. Maybe some smells that you're like, that does not smell good, and it brings up some bad memories. That's can be triggering too. So that's kind of the science, right? Like that's a little bit of the science. So let's talk about how to use three ways to use essential oils. So first, we have aromatically. So we have aromatically where we can smell it straight out of the bottle or in our diffuser. And then of course we have topically, right? We have topically where we can put it onto the bottoms of our feet, we can put it on the affected area, and then way over there we have internally. And this is where we can put a couple of drops of essential oil into our into our food. We can put it into under our tongue sublingually. We can put it in a very small veggie capsule or vegetable capsule. But the most important thing I want you to know about that is the supplement facts. So, oh, there we go. Supplement facts right there. You have to have supplement facts on your oils in order to take that internally. So, if you ever have a question, can I take this oil internally? Look for that little supplement facts label on your essential oils. And that tells you everything that you need to know about if you can take this internally or not. So, let's talk about the 5 stages or the 5 levels of healing with essential oils. So we know a lot about the physical, right? That number one is physical. That's what we typically hear about how to use our essential oils for is our physical health. But second, this is so cool, is healing the heart. We have that second level is healing the heart. And then the third level is releasing limiting beliefs. And this is huge. This is huge. I don't think people realize that your essential oils can help you to release those limiting beliefs. And then we have number 4 is our spiritual awareness and connection. So, spiritual awareness and connection. And then number 5 is inspiring our life's purpose. And we're going to get into all of these very briefly because this is a beginner's, but we're going to get into all 5 of these today. So, let's talk about the first level. And this is balancing the body function, raising energy vibration levels. So, if you're in pain, guess what? You're not going to feel like doing anything. It's just something, right? Like, so our physical health does affect our emotional health to a certain degree. But I am going to say something that's maybe a little hot take on something. Our emotions, 90% of our emotions affect our physical well-being. So just a hot take that I have on that. And let's jump into it for a second. So let's talk about deep blue for a second. I love deep blue. The deep blue oil, we have deep blue rub, we have deep blue stick, we have deep blue polyphenols. There are a lot of deep blue products that we have, but I'm going to focus today mainly on the deep blue oil, which is in our deep blue lotion and also in our deep blue stick. But let's talk about the deep blue oil for a second. That is the oil of surrendering pain. And so one of my favorite books, and I'm actually going to just show this to you, is the Essential Emotions book. This is my favorite book in the entire world. And it gives every oil, it gives that a description. It gives you a description of what that oil is good for your emotional health. And I'm not going to read you the entire thing, but I just want to read you a couple of lines from this. Deep blue is generally used for physical discomfort, but it can also assist individuals who are resisting or avoiding the emotions that underlie their physical discomfort. It offers strength to face emotional wounds, allowing the wounds to surface for transformation and healing. This blend can teach individuals how to be the observer of their pain, of their painful experiences, rather than just over identifying with them. When individuals suffer from intense emotional or physical pain, it is common for them to be irrational or lose their head. Do you ever feel like that? Have you ever met somebody who's like has physical pain and they're a little grumpy and you're just like, whoa, whoa, you don't have to be so cranky. Yes, you're in physical pain. And so sometimes we acknowledge that. Sometimes we're like, okay, they're in a lot of pain. And it's hard to be happy and like go with the flow and do the fun things when you're not feeling good, right? But let's remind ourselves that when we are in that state, when we're the ones that are in pain, to maybe be a little softer with people. Maybe yes, we are in pain, but we can be a little bit softer. Deep blue can support the mind in staying cool and collected, regardless of emotional turmoil or the physical pain individuals may be in. In this, they maintain mental clarity in the face of danger or pain. Do you want mental clarity when you are in pain? Do you want to be a little bit kinder and a little bit softer with people? Then this is an oil that you want to use. So you're going to use 1 to 3 drops wherever there's physical pain. So whether that be in your hips or your ankles or your neck or your shoulders, just use 1 to 3 drops and put it wherever there is pain. And then kind of like remember that this is for your emotional health as well. Okay, so the second level, and this is something we very rarely, maybe you've kind of heard it as a buzzword if you've thought about emotions and essential oils. The second level of healing is healing the heart. It helps to release old, stagnant emotions that no longer serve us. So if you're like, what in the world are you talking about? Think about the old emotions, the old past hurts, different things that you have been holding on to that don't serve you. Okay. These emotions that you've been just holding on to for so long, we can actually use essential oils to help us do the work. So let's talk about that for a second. So imagine yourself in this beautiful garden. Okay, you're walking along this path. See this path right up here? You're going to walk along this path and imagine yourself in this garden. It is a beautiful garden, absolutely gorgeous. There's flowers, there's trees, there's shrubbery, there's just green everywhere. And it is the most beautiful garden that you have ever walked in. And imagine that you're there walking in that garden and you're just walking along in life, right? And all of a sudden, on that path, a weed pops up. Do you see that weed? And it just kind of pops up. But you're in a hurry because life, when we're in our garden of life, we are in a hurry sometimes. And we just don't want to deal with what we know it's going to take to dig out a weed, right? Because if you're a gardener at all, you know that those weeds, if you just snip them off or mow it down, it's going to come back. And sometimes it comes back worse, like thicker and even stronger than before. Why? Why is that? Because those roots go deep. Okay. And if you don't dig around and get the roots out, you are never going to get rid of these weeds. It's just a fact of life. So let me ask you a question. When is the best time to weed your garden? When is the best time? I will tell you. Actually, it's right after it rains. It's right after it rains that it is the best time to weed out your garden. Because what happens is that soil gets a little bit more loosened and you're able to grab a hold of that whole plant and you're able to grab out the weeds more. And yeah, it'll be a little bit clumpy, but when it hasn't rained in a while and it's been left there to just kind of stagnate and grow and it's been hot, it digs those roots down a lot more deeply. And so we can't get those roots out. But when there's fresh rain, that helps to like loosen up the soil and then the the roots aren't holding on to it as deeply, right? So in our little scenario here, our essential oils, I'm going to go right back to that. Our essential oils are kind of like the rain. If you see the rain on these droplets of leaves up here, it's kind of like the rain. When we pour a couple drops of the essential oils onto us and we smell that and we go back into that limbic system, right? The amygdala and all the things that you just learned about a few minutes ago, that is where it helps to loosen up the soil. It helps to loosen up a little bit so we can start pulling our own weeds. Essential oils are not going to do the work for you. I'm not going to sit there and say that they are amazing, but they aren't what they're not going to do the work for you. You still have to do the work, but they do help loosen up the soil so your work is a lot easier. Just like these oils will support you in your emotional health. As you do the work and you kind of dig down, dig around inside of yourself, you'll be able to pull out these weeds a whole lot easier than when you just left them alone in like a deserty type situation. So I want you to really think about that and think about what essential oils can do for you. So let's talk about Breathe for a second. Breathe is one of my favorite essential oils to use when you're starting to really process emotions. And why is that? Because Breathe really helps with that grief and sadness and even some like distrusting, um, like a distrusting emotion that we might not trust people because we've been hurt, right? And so sometimes we don't trust everyone. But I love Breathe for, and it's the oil of breath, right? And it addresses the inability to let go of grief and pain. So this is why it's one of the first oils I recommend for people to start using when they are like, hey, I want to start working on this emotional stuff that I have, and I want to kind of fix it. So, this oil is great for those that struggle to breathe. They feel suffocated by their sadness or their grief. The lungs and their air passages become constricted, preventing them from an emotional release. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt like you can't release something because it's so heavy on your chest? The root of this condition is feeling unloved. Individuals grieve the love they never received. They often shut down and due to fear and not knowing whether the love they need will ever be there for them. They distrust whether it's safe to open up in life. Breathe encourages individuals to release the grief and the sadness and to receive genuine and love and healing. So think about the idea of breath. And we're going to go to this cycle right here. This emotional release work, right? Like we receive and we release, just like our breath. You breathe in to receive, and then you breathe out to release. And it's a constant cycle in our lives. Doing the emotional work helps us to be more open and positive more open to a positive emotions, and it helps us to release negative emotions. So think about this when you're dealing with your negative emotions, just doing some deep breath work helps to release some of the emotions that you're feeling and allows you to like be a little bit more calm so that you can kind of think through things a little bit easier. So just remember, like this is the natural rhythm of life. So when you use breathe, you're going to want to dilute 1 to 3 drops and you're going to want to just apply it over the chest and heart area. And this is going to help you so much just with that release and receive process. So let's talk about level 3, and that's releasing limiting beliefs. And this is like, unlike emotions, which tend to be short term feelings, limiting beliefs are held onto way longer and are deeply rooted in our subconscious. Okay, so there's a lot of things that play into our limiting beliefs, like a ton that play into our limiting beliefs. And so this can be things from our past. This can be things that have been said to us or just things that we believe that aren't actually true. So let's dig in a little bit into our limiting beliefs. My favorite oil to use when working on limiting beliefs is green mandarin. Green mandarin is citrusy, it's beautiful, it smells so good. I love this oil. It's called the oil of pure potential. And I actually was just diffusing this morning, which is probably kind of funny because you were like, well, you probably were thinking about doing this video, and I was, but I wasn't actually making a connection between the two. So green mandarin is the oil of pure potential. And this is a unique fruit of the mandarin. It shares similar characteristics with its ripe counterpart, but it is an excellent tonic to aid individuals in returning to childhood delight and simplicity. Green mandarin's bright and cheerful aroma helps all to remember the budding excitement they once felt about life. In adulthood, individuals often feel trapped or limited by their own belief system. This oil reminds individuals that they have the direct access to pure potential and boundless opportunities. It encourages all to experience the joy and journey of never stop becoming. When individuals are weighed down by emotional scars, self doubt, fear, or failure, green mandarin prompts them to hearken back to a time before they were encumbered by all of this baggage. Do you remember that? Do you remember the times when you were a child and your possibilities were limitless? They can still be limitless. Remembering what your pure potential is amazing. And this oil can really help you with that. So you're going to want to apply 1 to 3 drops all around the navel. So that's around your belly button and over the heart and on the wrists. Of course, smelling it, diffusing it also helps, but I want you to work through some of these things that these limiting beliefs might be holding you back from what you are truly meant to do. Next is our fourth level of healing, and that is our level of increasing our spiritual awareness and our connection. Acknowledgement of our spiritual nature and connection to our source is essential part of our healing process. And we need this. We need this connection to help us with that healing process. No matter what your belief system is, understanding that there's a higher power, the universe, God, Heavenly Father, Jesus, whatever, wherever your belief system is, Buddha, I don't even know all the different belief systems that are being held. But whatever that might be for you, it is so important for you to increase that spiritual awareness and that connection, because that is going to help you heal even more parts of you. Okay, so my oil for this particular level that we're discussing here is frankincense. Now, frankincense is known as the king of oils, right? Frankincense, there's a cute little phrase, when in doubt, frank it out, use frankincense. Like frankincense is so amazing. But frankincense is amazing because it's the oil of truth. Frankincense reveals deceptions and false truths. It invites individuals to let go of lower vibrations, lies, deceptions, and negativity. This oil helps to create a new perspective based on light and truth. Frankincense recalls to memory spiritual understanding, gifts, wisdom, and knowledge that the soul brought into this world. It's a powerful cleanser of spiritual darkness. Frankincense assists in pulling the scales of darkness from the eyes, the barriers from the mind, and the walls from the heart. Through connecting the soul with its inner light, it reveals truth. Like, how awesome is that? How awesome that this oil can help to relieve so much anxiety and fear because of like this darkness that might come around for us. So, frankincense supports creating a healthy attachment with one's father and assists spiritual awakening and helps individuals feel the love of the divine when they have felt abandoned or forgotten. Frankincense reminds them that they are loved and protected. While this oil is incredibly powerful, it is also gentle, like a loving father who nurtures, guides, and protects. Frankincense shields the body and soul from negative influences and assists the soul in spiritual evolution. Is that something you need in your life? Maybe. And maybe you're not ready for this level of healing yet. Maybe you're still back on level 2, and that's okay. That's okay. But I want you to know that there are tools for you. There are tools that can help you, and these oils are beautiful and they're amazing, and that they can help you with what you need into becoming the best version of yourself. So let's talk about the 5th level of healing really quick. It inspires fulfillment of life's purpose. This is where we achieve clarity and courage to follow the path that was meant for us. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready? Because some of these levels you might have to do some work on first. But if you're ready, if you're like, I want to start living my fullest potential, I want to start living to my fullest purpose in this life, then listen up because this might be for you. So, blue tansy. This is one of my most favorite oils, and I get super excited. Actually, I have a podcast, and I should put the podcast link in the description below to listen all about blue tansy, because I can't go into a lot of detail about it right here, but on that podcast, we go into a lot more detail. And I love blue tansy. This is probably one of my most favorite oils that I use all the time. And it's the oil of inspired action because it helps people to take action and change and transform their circumstances. Have you ever been inspired by a thought and then 10 seconds later you talk yourself out of it? Oh no, that person, maybe you need to call a friend and you're like, no, I just talked to them yesterday. They're fine. No, use this blue tansy. It's so good. I'm going to read this description to you because it is phenomenal. And literally, blue tansy is one of my most favorite things to use. And after I read this to you, I'm going to tell you exactly how to use it, where to use it. And I promise, I'm actually going to make a promise to you that this will help to move you into action faster than anything I've ever experienced. Blue tansy, it's especially helpful when individuals have become stagnant in their progression. It provides a kind of catalytic spark that overcomes the tendency to vacillate, avoid, or procrastinate. Are you a procrastinator? Because I am. Like, I'm raising my hand super high. I am a procrastinator. And I am I'm trying really hard to be a recovering procrastinator, but there are times where I still procrastinate, even though I know it's going to help me and propel me forward. Blue Tansy necessitates that an individual choose to take the helm of their own life. It encourages individuals to live in alignment with the whisperings of their inner voice, prompting them to make necessary changes. When an individual represses these messages, they can often feel lethargic, drained, apathetic, sluggish, and even exhausted. Blue Tansy invites individuals to take initiative to reclaim the life that they've dreamt of. Blue Tansy invites individuals to manifest their passion into action, and this is especially important when they desire or retreat within or self-sabotage. How many of you ever self-sabotage? You know what you're supposed to do, you want to do it, but you stop yourself. By creating more inward mobility, Blue Tansy encourages them to accept all that is, including emotional setbacks and other challenges, which must be overcome to actualize the inspiration it requires and individuals to own the responsibility of their cumulative choices. It demands personal mastery and purposeful action in achieving one's potential. And I just love that. And I did read the entire thing to you because it speaks to me so much. And I love this oil, and I love the oil of inspired action. Okay, so you're going to want to dilute this, and you're going to apply it behind your ears, which sounds a little weird, and on your wrists and over your solar plexus. Okay, that's where you're going to dilute it. And it does make your skin turn a little tinge of blue. So just now, it's Blue Tansy, it's normal. But my favorite place to use this is on your big toe. Why? Why do you want to use it on your big toe? Let me tell you. Because the big toe is the reflex point for your brain. Going back to that limbic system all the way at the beginning, right? That reflex point is your brain. And this is why we want to take inspired action. We want to take action. And I promise you, it's so funny. I make this promise to people and they're kind of blown away when they try it. One of my friends, I said, just do it for 3 to 4 days. Put a drop of Blue Tansy on your big toe for 3 to 4 days. See what happens. She called me 2 days later. I feel different. And I was like, well, describe that to me. And she said, I've been able to get things done. I feel motivated. I feel something I haven't felt in a really long time. She got really emotional. And I was like, yeah, that's the beauty of Blue Tansy. So try that. Use Blue Tansy. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it to everyone. So let's talk about some other tools that we have for emotional work. We have journaling. I'm a big journaler. I tell people all the time to journal your thoughts and your feelings. I give questions and prompts to people all the time for journaling. Journaling is so key for your emotional work. Number 2 is meditation. There's lots of different meditation. You can do guided meditation, your own meditation. There's lots of different avenues for meditation. Number 3 is personal inventory. And I think this is a really big key. Personal inventory, it's kind of goes along with that journaling, but taking a personal inventory of yourself. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? What are your next steps to get there? These are like really important things. Number 4 is nature therapy. I mean, getting out into nature. Now, if you know me personally, you're like, oh, Sarah, you're not much of a camper girl, right? No, but I'm a beach girl and I'm happy to walk on the beach. I can walk 6 miles on a beach and not even flinch. I can walk 6 miles in my neighborhood and that first mile, I think I'm dying, right? Like the beach is my happy place. I'm so happy and calm and content. And I just love the waves. I love the being on the ocean. I love the sand between my toes. I don't like my sand anywhere else, but I like it between my toes. I love this. I love that feeling of just, I feel like my mind is quiet. I feel like I get inspired. It's just so beautiful. Some people, it's the mountains. They love being in the mountains. They love being in the lakes. They love being in the forests. Some people like the desert, but being in nature, there's something about it. There's something about just turning off your phone, getting away from all the distractions so that you can rejuvenate. So, nature therapy, big fan of nature therapy. Also, with that is grounding, going out and putting your feet onto the ground and just being one with the ground is just amazing. Different health habits. This is really important to keep your health habits going. Vitamins, minerals, vibrational plates. I love my vibrational plate, right? Working out, exercising, these are all excellent ways of helping to release your emotions. One of my favorite things to with exercising is kickboxing. And I know that sounds weird because if you know me in real life, you're like, that is not what I would have expected you to say, but it is one of my most favorite forms of exercise is kickboxing. Number six is personalized modalities. These can range from anything. I mean, these can range from like a motion code to even like chiropractic work and gosh, there's so many. Like my brain is going a million miles an hour just trying to like tell you all the different personal modalities that there are. Acupuncture, acupressure, massage, like there's so many different personalized modalities that you can do. Now, affirmations is a little bit different, and I have a whole video all about affirmations, and I can go through that with you. It's a little bit different than affirmations. So, affirmation versus an affirmation. And then number eight is pairing oils with emotions. Like we were just talking about through this entire video. I think that's really going to help you. Try it. Obviously, you wanted to watch this video because something about emotions and essential oils sparked your interest. So I highly recommend this. Any of these oils to try to do some emotional work with. I'm going to leave you with one of my most favorite quotes. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if we only remember to turn on the light. Albus Dumbledore. And I just love that quote. And I just want you to know that you too can find happiness. So if you have enjoyed this video, press like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.